morning, everyone. First off, thanks for joining the first ever Gamemasters Summit powered by Kwalee. So super excited to have you on board and to talk to you about all things about forging a career in the games industry. Yeah, so I'm Tom Romich. My role here at Kwalee is as head of people development. That is all things learning and development, training, but also career development. We're here to have a bit of a chat. So we're joined by some incredible people. So I think first off, should we do some quick introductions, and then we'll get into a bit of a natter about careers in games. So I will start with Aishan. Hello.
Hello. Hi, thanks for having me. I'm Aishan. I'm the lead growth manager here at Kwalee for the last 1.5 years. In total, I have over 6 years of digital marketing experience. I started in the advertising agencies, helped brands to run their marketing campaigns, then moved to e-commerce industry, worked in a shopping app for a year, and then moved to gaming industry. So before Kwalee, I worked in 2 different hyper-casual gaming startups. And that's it.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Cheers, Aishan. Hannah, over to yourself.
Hello, I'm Hannah. I'm the talent acquisition team manager in our UK office at Kwalee. So I have kind of a background in psychology. I did that at university. And then I moved into kind of recruitment accidentally, kind of a happy accident, I guess. And now at Kwalee, we recruit across the world, really. So we have offices in the UK, Almada, Bangalore, and Beijing. So got very busy time for us at the moment, and that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, Nikita, hello.
Hello. Yeah, so I'm Nikita. I am the graduate partnership manager at Grads in Games. So Grads in Games, we help bridge the gap between industry, academia, and support students who are looking to make that first step into games. My background, a little bit similar to Hannah in that I kind of stumbled into recruitment, also a happy accident. My background is public sector recruitment, but very much around early careers, apprenticeships, and sort of helping people start their career and start their journey.
Thank you very much. We also have Jordan. I think Jordan's on the chat, so we can't see Jordan, but hi, Jordan. So we've got 45 minutes together, and yeah, so we'll talk about all things careers. If you pop questions in the chat, and we'll make sure that they get answered, and at the end we'll have a bit of Q&A to make sure we get everything covered. Hopefully it should be a bit of fun between us. So I think let's I guess start the conversation really on kind of as a group, as kind of the three of you in front of us. What advice would you give to someone who is kind of looking to start out or looking to break into the games industry?
I don't mind.
Yeah, over to anyone. We should have a magic mic, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Magic mic.
I can go first. So obviously, like, the games industry is so vast. So you have anything from small mobile games up to big AAA titles. So I would say first figure out what kind of games you want to be involved in making. We get lots of applications from artists, for example, who may have really incredible AAA quality of portfolios, whereas we make quite small mobile games. So I guess it's kind of picking and choosing what is it exactly that interests you, and then tailoring things with your applications around that. So that would be kind of my first step.
Yeah, that's really interesting, especially like tailoring your application. Yeah, make sure it's bespoke, because that's what a way to stand out as well, isn't it? Fab. Yeah, awesome. Any other advice you could give to people?
I mean, to follow on from what Hannah's just said in terms of kind of finding out what you want to do, I think that goes down to as well, just quite simply, a discipline. I think sometimes at university, you might be exposed to a bit of everything. So a bit of art, a bit of design, a bit of programming, and quite often I speak with students, they're like, I'm not too sure yet. I think I might do this, I might do that. And that can quite often blur the lines, and you might sort of not be particularly focused or really developing and honing in on a certain skill that will make your application much stronger. So my advice is always, if you're sitting on the fence, maybe between a couple, is to really kind of maybe have a bit of a decision about initially, what are you going to go into? There's nothing to stop you specialising, and you know, there are a few roles in games that kind of have a mix, but initially I would definitely kind of focus on, yes, I'm going to go into design, or I'm going to be an artist, or that kind of thing.
Yeah, having that goal or objective in front of you is really important. And as you're rightly saying, is that doesn't mean it's the kind of be all and end all. You're not stuck there forever. We see people kind of move careers all the time, or even just internally move about. Anything from yourself, Aishan? Any advice you would give someone stepping into this?
I totally agree with what Nikita and Hannah said, actually. So building your skill set is extremely important, but of course for this you need to decide which way you would like to go. I think there is kind of a misunderstanding in the gaming industry that you need to know coding, or you need to be a designer to be able to work in the gaming industry, which is not necessarily true, right? I mean, there are, like, gaming industry is huge, and like there are lots of different professions that you can select according to what kind of skill set you have. So definitely, I mean, trying to understand your passion first, and then focusing on building your skill set is extremely important, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. I think being aware that there is, it's not just a designer, a coder, and an artist. And like myself, I have no background in code. I've not worked. This is my first step into the games industry, and ultimately work with people services, so HR. So yeah, you can get into this industry. I never thought it'd be possible, if I'm honest. Like, looking back, like years and years ago, I was like, no chance. Like, I just need to be able to make games. But yeah, I find myself kind of kicking myself sometimes, going, oh, actually, I've somehow got myself here. But that's bringing transferable skills, right? Yeah, Aishan, so for yourself, you've transitioned from a outside of the industry into the industry. So kind of going into that, can you tell me a little bit about kind of your current role, what you do, and then like how you then moved into games?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as a lead growth manager, I worked under the performance marketing department, so user acquisition team specifically. So basically, I am responsible for maximizing the scale and the profitability of Kwalee's hyper casual and some of the hybrid casual portfolio. And also, I am responsible for leading and mentoring 6 amazing UI managers. Regarding the question about like how I actually ended up in here, there are, I guess, like 2 different aspects, right? We can talk about the transitioning from student life to the professional life, and we can talk about like moving from one industry to the like gaming industry. And since I think we have lots of students in the audience today, I can maybe start with the first, and I would love to hear your comments as well. So I actually originally studied food engineering in the college for 5.5 years. I had 2 summer internships in the factories, which one of them was in a chicken factory. I can talk about it later if you want. So after those basically internships, I realized that I don't want to be a food engineer. And it was my last semester. I had no idea about what I want to do or what I can do. So basically, I started to look for another internship. I didn't have even any pattern, by the way. I started to apply for HR internships, sales internships, data science internships, like everything, because at that point, I didn't know what people do even, So finally, I got an internship position actually in a tech startup, which they were in this university's incubation program. So basically, the office was a cubicle in a grand hall, and there were like 15 different cubicles. Every cubicle was a company, like a startup. And I thought, like, this is a great opportunity. I will see 15 different company at once. So basically, they normally acquired me to like translate their website, help them to like do some competitive research. But then I found myself launching Google search campaigns for them with the help of YouTube videos and of course with the help of our lovely neighborhood startups. And then I just loved it basically, and I wanted to continue my career in this area.
That's wonderful. That's well, and there's no chickens, I guess, running around. But that's amazing, because that's what I hear from that, is that you were open to kind of new information, different ideas, different opportunities, and you kind of grasp them with both hands. And you see that I see it quite a lot, is that you see people who go on to do some amazing stuff. It's not necessarily the thing that they set out to do. They've just gone from one thing to another with some focus and a direction, but they've been very open to new ways of working, or open to exploring different ways of working, or different kind of industries. Have you seen, so coming from kind of I guess into the game industry, what challenges have you faced coming into games?
I mean, of course, at first I didn't know anything. Maybe that was the biggest challenge. But so basically, if I like talk about the challenges between like coming from a like digital marketing or like traditional marketing background to the gaming industry, so I think the biggest challenge for me to understand the like user behavior and the dynamics of the mobile gaming industry in general, because I mean, like as a like very basic example, I didn't even consider myself as a gamer back then, because I thought being a gamer means that you are passionate about PC and console gaming. And I didn't like basically know that there's a huge audience or huge big group of mobile gamers. So I had to actually learn in this area. But I mean, of course, like I overcome this with reading. It might be a surprise for you, but reading actually helps. Yes. So I like I don't know, like I read a lot of blog posts. I signed up different newsletters. I started to follow industry leaders, and I attended lots of conferences. To be honest, it was pretty shocking for me, like to see how open people in the gaming industry to share their knowledge. You can actually learn something in the conference, like from the conferences in the gaming industry, which I like didn't see in the other like industries, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'm completely with you. I say likewise. I came into this and my thought was like, I'm just going to kind of bring what I think my strengths are to the role and to Kwalee. But yeah, like yourself, it was actually, I'm just going to learn from others. I'm going to sign up to as many newsletters as possible, attend as many events as I can, and also the people around me are just amazing. Like, as I say, learning from the likes of Hannah and Nikita and yourself is super, super important. I know I don't know everything, and that's okay. And that every day that goes by, I'm never going to learn everything, but you're going to learn something new. But I'm open to that. And I guess, Hannah, for yourself as well, you kind of stepped from a recruitment role which wasn't within games into this role, which is all about games, and you're looking at every role under the sun.
Yeah.
Yes. How is that for you?
It's been a learning experience, I guess, like Aishan. So I guess like growing up, I didn't even think that you could work in a games company. I just thought that's something that happens, but you don't actually work there. They just come out. But yeah, no, it's been like a super fun experience. Like I came into this, I didn't know all the different facets of games. I just thought you had like a programmer, an artist, and a designer. I didn't think about the people behind the scenes in like production and QA and in data analysis. Like it's just so vast. And it's global as well. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm exactly like yourself. It's like I couldn't believe how big it is. And then for Nikita yourself, you're seeing it from looking at the universities across the UK. So you must see kind of those opportunities kind of, that's what's available to people grow and grow year on year.
Yeah, absolutely. There's kind of more and more courses, universities sort of like specialisms kind of being focused and coming out as well to try and kind of match what industry's needing as it grows as well, which is great. But yeah, I'd also echo what you've all said in that everyone is so nice and happy to have a question asked and share their knowledge, and so I definitely wouldn't be sort of scared about transitioning, because yeah, everyone is so open to just sharing their knowledge. It's really nice.
Yeah, and that'd be, I guess, similar to if you are currently at university or looking to go into university, is starting to connect with people. I think LinkedIn, would you say LinkedIn's the best kind of place to meet people?
I feel like over the last few months I should have been sponsored by LinkedIn, the amount I've plugged them. But yeah, absolutely, really great space to just connect with like-minded people, you know, sort of people that you potentially aspire to be one day, you know, in terms of their job role. And again, sort of a way of kind of getting yourself out there, posting work in progress and things like that. It's just a great space to connect and make friends and make connections, definitely.
I'm going to go off a little bit off piste of what we've here a little bit. So if with that in mind, is that when people are trying to connect with people within the industry, like, do you think there's a kind of a good way to go about it, or the right way to go about it when connecting with people? And would you give any advice on how to connect with people?
I think it's kind of, you know, even though there's that screen and that digital sort of thing in front of you, that there is a person at the other end of it. So I think it's just generally about how would you go about meeting someone face to face. And so I think it is just, you know, introducing yourself, a bit of explanation, you know, about why you're wanting to connect and network. If you are seeking any advice or guidance or want to ask them a question, I'd certainly just be patient. You know, I've heard stories about people kind of chasing people and nudging and following up and stuff like that, and yes, that might be okay when you've given it a good amount of time, or you know, they've said if you don't hear back, do, you know, sort of give me a nudge. But remember that people have got jobs that they're doing, they've got lives, that their immediate thing isn't there to, oh yeah, I'm there to just give you a little bit of CV advice or review your portfolio. So just remember to be polite and be patient, and you know, as I say, people will probably get to you when they get to you, and that they're usually quite happy to speak to a motivated and enthusiastic student or graduate. But yeah, remember your manners.
Yeah, I cannot. I can't agree anymore. I think as well, I see people like build a relationship through like commenting on people's posts and liking stuff, and just even not necessarily going in to seek advice initially, but slowly building that relationship, and then when they need it, asking the question. And I'm more likely to respond to someone who I've never met before, but who has engaged with me previously. I guess kind of from a recruitment point of view, how would you give me advice on that, people looking to kind of build their network?
Yeah, I'd kind of copy what Nikita said, really. I think just popping someone a message, just saying, hi, I'm really interested in what you're doing. I'd maybe like to consider that career. Do you have any advice? Keeping the conversation open. If they don't come back to you, it's not the end of the world. There's hundreds of other people that probably do the same thing, and one of them will. So I think it's good about kind of casting your net quite wide and connecting with people on LinkedIn, and then keeping like regular content coming out, because it's always going to come up in someone's feed, and one day they will look at it and be like, oh, I think that looks really cool. And then I think from like a job hunting perspective as well, I think LinkedIn is such a valuable tool to use. I know there's a lot of controversy about like the open to work banners and things like that, but they are so important for recruitment, because there's like back end tools that we use, and we just literally click a button that says, I want to see people that are open to work, and you will just appear. So it could narrow our search down from about 1,000 people to 20. So you would come up in that short pool of people. And I think that's really important to highlight, just kind of optimizing your profile.
Yeah, especially in the current climate where there's a lot of people looking for roles. And I say as a social platform, I can't agree. I engage with LinkedIn so much, and I spend my time actually reading stuff rather than doom scrolling through Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is. Also, so I've kind of, if we look at kind of what are the routes then, so if we are someone's looking at getting into the industry, and I guess some people can get fixated on a specific route into the industry, whether that's through an academic route. Are there what options would you say you see nowadays for people trying to get into the industry? Are there any I guess, advice or guidance you give to someone going, actually, this is probably a direction to go in?
I would say that like your first foot in the door may not eventually be the end goal. So for example, we have someone that worked at Kwalee in the admin department, and they did a really good job of it for a couple of years, and they showed a lot of potential, and they expressed an interest in going into our PC and console department as an associate producer. And because there was such a crossover in skills and organization and the confidence and being able to talk to people, they were a shoo-in because they were just a perfect fit for that role because of the skills they had learned from being in administration. So sometimes it's kind of like the stepping stones to the end goal that I think people may not consider. It's just, I want to be a game designer, so I have to do this straight away. But sometimes QA may be the best foot in. Just kind of exploring different options.
Yeah, and I think that's sound advice to anyone going into any industry, is that you have to look beyond that step. A wonderful moment, but the next one might be the one that you need. And say, Aishan, you never know, you could be where your route takes you next. And then for Nikita, from your side, if you are I guess working or kind of being quite close to kind of the student population, is there any advice you could give to people who are kind of looking to prepare themselves to get ready for that kind of step into the industry?
I think it is about kind of being quite proactive in terms of making sure you're ready, CVs, portfolios, that you've done your research, you're making your connections, and proactivity will help with all of that. But I think just from a personal perspective, your career is going to be a journey. So yes, you're probably going to have an end goal in mind, but as Hannah's just said, there's stepping stones to get there. So do consider other options, other routes, potentially expanding a skill set, working and really honing your skills to make you as prepared. And yes, you are probably going to face a little bit of rejection, but let that motivate you, and just to have some sort of resilience and perseverance, as it might not happen straight away. There's hundreds, thousands of students and things like that, but just keep going. If it's absolutely what you want to do, then kind of having everything ready to go and sort of know where you're wanting to head and keeping those options open. There's plenty of other routes that your skill set might lend itself to. I see a lot of people that potentially go into QA, which is an absolutely valued and valid career pathway in its own right. You might actually figure out that, oh, actually, I really enjoy this, and this is actually where I want to stay and I want to progress. And that's how sometimes really strong and great careers happen. But you might go QA design. I see a lot of people going into community management with some great skill sets that their game related course or degree has given them. So don't just be open to potentially what's out there as well. Don't close a door. Really give some good consideration to an opportunity. Don't just kind of immediately think, well, no, I've got my heart set on this, that's what I want to work to. Just be really open to it.
Yeah, I love that advice. It's like, what can this role give? What benefit or what value can this role bring to my skills? And second, that other point around being kind of being persistent and not giving up. I've seen over my career, I've seen a lot of people who have kind of they've stopped trying, they've quit, they've had a goal in mind, a vision, which sounds amazing, and they've kind of applied for 2 or 3 things, or they've tried it for a couple of months. It didn't really work out straight away, so they've stopped. And on the other side of that, I've seen people who have kind of not left kind of that focus, kind of leave their side, and they've gone on to do exactly what they want to do, and they're super happy. So be really be I'd say be persistent, don't give up, keep trying, get feedback, learn from the kind of the little roles that you get along the way. And yeah, it's certainly a journey.
Oh yeah.
I guess for Aisha and for yourself, would you be able to predict it from where you were in food engineering to here? Would you have been able to predict this would be the route that you were going to go along to?
Obviously not. No. I mean, to be honest, I didn't even have an idea about gaming industry when I was a like food engineering student. So that's why actually I wanted to, like do this internship, like try to understand the industry, like tech industry, like what is going on in general. So I think like also like since we were talking about the like building up your like skill set and trying to find your passion, I think trying startups might not be a bad idea for most of the people, because especially, like the nature of a startup is you actually kind of have to do different things at the same time. So you can be a like VI manager, you can be a monetization like manager, you can be, I don't know, like even like deal with the HR or finance time to time. So this is actually not a bad thing for people like who is just trying to find their way in the gaming industry, because it gives you hands-on experience about different professions at the same time. So you can, like, I was reading a post, I guess, the other day. So like someone was like working in a like startup, like they started as a like marketing manager, but then they also had to deal with the data science part of the thing, and they realized that like they loved it and they want to like pursue their career in that part. So I think like startups might be a good idea if you are not quite sure about what you want to focus on, like, and you are like trying to find your way basically.
Yeah, I love that. It's like wearing different hats, isn't it? It's like, especially, you see people like, I want to go and work for Ubisoft or Rockstar or EA, because I want to work on the next Grand Theft Auto and I want to design the whole game. But in those organizations, in those studios, they'll be huge. There'll be hundreds, if not thousands, of people, and your role might be quite extremely important, but extremely like almost like kept inside a little cage. Whereas in startups and SMEs, you certainly have to wear different hats. And would you mind just trying this thing that you've never done before? But okay, right, I'll give it a go, and you'll be fully supported. And I don't know about if you guys have noticed, is that as I've come into the kind of the games, is that it's full of so many entrepreneurs. So many people who have started their own studio or tried to make games, and which is absolutely amazing. The more people you talk to, like, oh my god, I've not seen this before. It's amazing. Like, I just think, if you've got a desire to do it yourself and create and start something, or work with a startup, chase that as well. Don't put that to one side. So if you look at that, so when we've got kind of get different routes into the industry, so what do you think the key skills are required when coming into the industry? I guess that's quite broad because it depends on the role. But if you had to say anything, any kind of particular skills that you think would be super valuable when coming into the industry, what would they be?
I guess it's more about soft skills more than anything. I guess like in roles, you're obviously going to need some hard skills, like do you know C# if you want to be a programmer, do you know how to use Unity? But I think it's underestimated how powerful soft skills can actually be. Like, how are you at communicating with a team? Are you able to work in a group of 10 people and be able to tell them about a problem that you're facing and you need a bit of help with that? Are you able to even solve the problem yourself? Are you able to adapt to different situations? Even things like attention to detail and your time management are just so valuable. And to be able to like show them off through an interview process, like through like examples of what you've done previously, is just brilliant.
Yeah, that's what's really interesting, because you could have 2 or 3 candidates who are all at the same level as programmers or designers or artists or HR professionals, but how they kind of their emotional intelligence and how they act and how they behave, and how they say behave is a strong word, but how they communicate with people is really critical. And I think I've seen that when you come out of education. In education, IQ is very much so like my IQ is kind of puts me at the top of the class, but actually when you come into like the world of work, actually you're applying to roles with kind of people with similar IQ or similar skill sets or similar education backgrounds, and yes, it's the impact you make in the interview, how you communicate with someone, the kind of the first impressions you have, how you solve problems, is the stuff that kind of really comes to the front. No, I love that. And for me, and say, Aishan, you've got a team of how many? 6 was it?
Yeah, 6.
A team. So you'll be a different from Hannah's side. You're looking at it from a recruitment aspect within the studio, and then Aishan for yourself would be as a hiring manager. So what key skills are you looking for as a hiring manager?
Yeah, to be honest, I totally agree with Hannah. So obviously there are lots of technical skills that is needed according to job level, like of course, and also the like profession. So like the expectations are different from a like junior position to a senior position, like when it comes to technical skills, right? But I do value the soft skills most. I really think that like being able to learn faster and also like being open to learning new things is extremely important in gaming industry, because it is like the gaming industry is extremely fast paced and everything is changing all the time. The thing that you know today might not be the same or might not be applicable like a couple of months later, right? So if you are able to learn faster, and if you are basically, if you have the skill that you can like adapt yourself according to the change, I think it's extremely valuable. And the other thing is like being a team player or being a good fit to the team. Because again, I mean, you might have an amazing experience, and of course this is extremely valuable, but if you are not a good fit to the team, you might get affected by the team dynamics negatively, or you might affect the team dynamics negatively, and this is just not a good environment to work with, right? So basically, I think I would value most for the people who can be a like very good, like can be a good cultural fit to the team and like can be a team player actually.
Yeah. And I think I've seen that is that where everything that everyone does here, it's all within a team, whether it's a large team or a small team, they are all kind of collaboratively working together. It's never someone working in silo on their own with a single focus. There is always reliance for deadlines or for kind of project requirements along the way on other people, and how you a team working well together and communicating well together is only going to be kind of beneficial going forward. So Nikita, I'll kind of touch on the same thing really. Then it's kind of those key skills as a student coming into thinking out like because you can get, I guess you can gain those soft skills what Aishan's talking about from all sorts of kind of avenues, whether it's working in a bar, a restaurant, a shop. So would you say there's anything particularly you'd advise someone coming out of education to work on from their like soft skill perspective?
Yeah, I think absolutely, to echo all of the ones that have been said, the one that we hear a lot about when we interact with studios and then kind of then passing that knowledge on to students is being able to ask for and take feedback, and to not kind of have it, sort of take it so personally or something like that. Remember that it's aiming for a team goal or a certain milestone that needs to be hit, and just kind of being able to appreciate that feedback in terms of for bettering the project or whatever you're working on at that point, but also yourself and your personal skills and growing in that way. So as much as you can sort of during your studies be reaching out for that feedback, whether that be with tutors, with peers. We talked about LinkedIn being a good place to kind of post that work in progress, and people will quite happily kind of offer some constructive feedback. So I think if there was one that I was going to say in addition to the others, it would be around kind of being able to do that, and within a professional setting it does make a difference.
I completely agree. Your whole career will be based on getting feedback, especially in a creative space. And it's looking at it from someone else's perspective, is that they've seen something you might have not, and it might be your kind of dream project, like everything you've worked on for an X amount of time, and then someone gives it feedback. It can be difficult to take, but understand that it's not there to it's there for the greater good. It's there for the kind of the good of the project. No, I love that. Yeah. So understanding feedback, and you can get that from everywhere.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
And then I think we're going to we're coming. We've got 10 more minutes really. So I'm going to kind of end on kind of one final question. And this is one of the questions that came from the chat right at the start. And that is, how do you make your application stand out if you have no experience? I'm going to kind of broaden that a little bit more, is like, just how do you make yourself stand out when applying for roles within the industry? So is there any advice, tips, guidance of what to do or what not to do, maybe? When kind of making yourself stand out, and specifically, when you've not got experience. That's like an age-old question, really. Does anyone, you can go to Hannah from you?
So I would guess try and tailor it to be as specific to each company as possible. So like I mentioned at the beginning, the games industry is massive and there's so many different avenues you could go down. So for artists in particular, I would say have a portfolio that's really easy to read. Try to have a website, not like a Google Drive link that you just send out, and try and have it easy to click through and really showcase your project from inception to completion and the steps that you did. And if there is an art style or a game style for programmers or designers as well that you really enjoy, try and tailor your portfolio around that as well, because you're then demonstrating to the company that, look, I've seen your games, I can make them myself as well, and I'm keen to make them with you. And another thing I would say is, like, I think the value of cover letters are really underestimated. I think sometimes if you're kind of comparing people, apples for apples, if you have people that are clearly like copy and pasting their cover letter, which is fine, we all do it, from one application to another, it doesn't really add anything. But if you say to me, oh, I've seen your games and they look so cool, I've had a look at your website and it looks like a great team to be a part of, it's showing that you're invested already in the company and you actually want to be here, instead of it just being another job you're applying for. So that's how I think it's good to stand out.
Yeah, I think the power of the cover letter adds a bit of personality. Would you say it's also, are you able to tell what's been written by ChatGPT and what's not?
Absolutely.
Yeah. ChatGPT has definitely got a personality of its own, and you can tell.
Yeah. No, I think ChatGPT is great, but use it as like an inspiration tool.
For me. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, please be careful. So I guess, so Aishan, would you look at portfolios, or would yours be mainly CVs and technical based?
No, actually, it's just CVs, and I actually we work with Hannah for basically, like, while we were looking for 2 new team members to the UA team. So basically, like, we are checking the CVs, like trying to understand whether the technical skills are applicable, and then of course we do interviews and try to understand the person better. And I guess in this matter, I might say something. I think people often forget that interviews goes both way. So yes, company is checking you whether you are a good fit to the company or to the team, but you should also check the company whether they are a good fit for you. And this is, I think, people most of the time miss that part. I think asking questions about company culture, team culture, environment, manager style, what kind of expectations, what kind of things that is expected from your role is really important, because it actually shows to hiring manager or people in general that you are not just looking for a job, but you are trying to be a part of the team, and you are trying to be actually permanent in that company, in that team, right? So I think that might be an advice maybe that I can give.
No, I love that, because that becomes a really genuine, authentic conversation, because you really thought about the questions that you want to ask, and it is not just saying a question that you've asked ChatGPT, what is the best question to ask on an interview, because then you can have a really authentic conversation about that. This is what it's like to work at Kwalee or Studio X or Studio Y. No, I love that. Yeah, thank you. What do you think about kind of sending speculative CVs or speculative applications? How would you, do you think there's any value in that?
I would say you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Like, what have you got to lose? Just do it.
Yeah.
If you don't go back, if there's not a role available at the time, it's not the end of the world, but they then got you on record. And then when something does open up, we can reach out.
Yeah, and I think I had a conversation once with someone who applied for a role, the role they got completely speculatively. The role wasn't there, and actually they looked on paper, they had a quick look, and actually just right time, right place.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've seen as well, it's when people are looking to, when they are going through this kind of making themselves stand out, is that all of the roles that they've applied for, they've got like a bit of a database around what they're applying for, who they're talking to, the conversations at the type of company, what stage they're at, because then when the phone does ring, they're able to quickly go, okay, this is so-and-so, this is this studio, this is this role, this is already the conversation I've had, rather than going, oh, I'm not really too sure who you are, apply for a lot of roles. It just shows that they're really prepared. So I guess what would you do? So if you don't have any experience in the industry specifically, Nikita, would you give any advice on? It's a difficult. I know. I appreciate it's a really difficult one.
I think it is, but I think I would just remember that people aren't alone. It's, that there's hundreds of people that are not going to be able to have had that work experience, have had that internship, because that alone is very competitive and sort of obviously takes a big pull from a studio to be able to facilitate that. They need certain infrastructure to do that sort of stuff. But I think it's kind of maybe where yourself as a person can come across a little bit more. So whether it's kind of highlighting maybe particular personal projects that align with the job or the studio that you're working, that you're applying to. But it's also where sort of your softer skills might come into play a little bit more. So any work experience you have done, even if that's volunteering for sort of societies whilst you're at university, or that part-time job, that's where those softer skills can really come into play, and show in real life examples how you have worked in a team, how you sort of have had to communicate and keep yourself organized. So alongside the technical skills you've learned, that actually you're probably quite a rounded person, that can kind of still put you in that consideration. And again, I think it goes down to that proactivity and that research and that attention to detail, that if you're coming across as a person, not just sort of a robot that's chucking out a lot of applications, lots of generic information out there, actually, sort of tell Hannah why you want to work for Kwalee. Like, what do you see yourself aligning to with that company? And that will come across whether you've got that in industry experience or not. Do really think about your transferable skills and what you are bringing to that company as well.
Yeah, and I love that. And there's transferable skills everywhere, really. And then if you are want to make games, you can make them from your bedroom, from your kitchen table. You can make them with your friends. If you want to make art, create art, and get that on the CV. So just and they don't have to be perfect.
Yeah, it sounds really obvious, doesn't it, that if you want to work in games, sort of make games and make assets and stuff like that, but small, well-planned, thought-through stuff can be really beneficial.
And like an imperfect game or imperfect art that is seen by people for feedback and that is in front of recruitment teams and hiring managers is way better than a perfect portfolio that's not seen by anyone. Will your portfolio ever be perfect and ready?
No.
I don't know how long is a piece of string.
Yeah.
I guess we are coming. We've got one more minute. We have kind of gone through our allotted time. I can't see any questions, so I'm assuming there aren't any.
Actually, there are lots of questions. I was checking the app. Yes, there are lots of questions.
I think I was looking on the chat.
Oh, same. Oh no.
But to be honest, I think we covered most of them, because there are lots of questions about like CV and portfolio, like what are the common questions that we should ask during the interviews. Let me check whether there's something that we. Yeah, actually, there are lots of questions about CVs. Hannah, maybe maybe you can answer. So for example, there's one question about how one can show these qualities in their resume.
So I have a big pet peeve with some CVs. I really dislike when people make graphs or like pie charts, because what does that mean? I'm a 10 out of 10 with organization, okay? It doesn't mean anything. You want to put on their actual skills and demonstrate, I'm very good at using this software. And then you want to say things about you that demonstrate your organization or your teamwork. Don't add weird graphs. Here's my takeaway from today's session. Make it as clear and easy to read as possible. I think a recruiter takes about 7 seconds to review each application. So you just want to make it as reader friendly as possible and really scream about everything that you do.
Very succinct. I love that. Yeah, I'm with you. Very clear, obvious. Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. But thank you. I say I'll link to you. Find us on LinkedIn. So if you do want to connect with us, our names are here and also in the on the Hoover app. But yeah, thank you, Nikita, Hannah, and Aishin, for your time.
Thanks a lot.
It's
This
been
was so
an absolute pleasure. And thank you, Aishin, for finding the comments.
There are actually lots of questions. Maybe like we can review them after the meeting. I really think that we covered most of the parts, but maybe we can review and answer in the app as well.
Yeah, no problem.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for
a lot.
having me.
See you later. Thanks.
Bye.